Hello and welcome back to the Saw movie series. And now we're back at where things kinda sorta stopped. It's the seventh movie in the series, but they kinda decided to drop the numbering logic to an extent and instead embrace the gimmick that was going around at the time 3D. So this movie is instead called Saw 3D, or alternatively Saw the Final Chapter, or alternatively we also Saw 3D the Final Chapter. Just call it Saw 7 wasn't,
Yeah,
creative enough, I guess.
yeah. Final. We could put the final in quotation marks.
Now,
It
to
was
be
also called
fair,
Saw 3D Game Over.
Now, to be fair, it's worth noting that, as I mentioned during Saw 6, paranormal activity had been a thing around this time, and Lionsgate was very concerned about the state of the franchise. And to be fair, this movie managed to make at the box office much better than Saw 6. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was at least the double, what Saw 6 did. So it was a definitive improvement. But this is basically where Lionsgate pulled the plug, out of the franchise up until Jigsaw a couple of years later. Mostly because, again, there was the perception that the horror genre was moving to another direction, and these were becoming, too stale. So, as a result, this movie serves to kind of conclude the saga started properly with the fourth movie. The director is, I think, he's the same as the previous movie.
Kevin Gruter, yeah.
Kevin Gruter. And the writers are the same that have been on board since Saw 4. So it's time to see if, after surviving the bear trap from the last movie, Detective Hoffman can actually go against Jigsaw's wife. But I also have good news. This is finally the movie where we learn what happened to Dr. Gordon. After so many goddamn years of movies, finally Cary Elwes decided to come back to the franchise. So, let's find out what happened. Start before, as usual, the custom Lionsgate logo in 3, 2, 1, click.
Thankfully, I'm watching it in 2D.
Well, me too, so.
If I wanted to watch this in 3D, I could always pull up my Nintendo Switch, my Nintendo 3DS.
Could you imagine if this got released on like the old GBA video
Imagine it fitting on there first.
or UND?
Twisted Pictures.
Alright, so we start by discovering, as I said, what happened to Dr. Gordon. After the events of the first movie, leaving Lee Wanell's character behind, Dr. Gordon had managed to get away.
Albeit
There he
not
goes, limping
doing very
off.
well.
Well, remember, he did not have a foot. And yeah,
Wait, Detective Hoffman also produced this picture?
the fact that even the credits start with a 3D. Yeah, don't start a drinking game whenever you see a 3D effect in this movie because you will be not very well by the end of it. It's kind of impressive that despite everything, Carrie always managed to maintain an appearance to be convincing, as if he was still just out of the first movie, even if like 6 years roughly had passed. So, being a doctor, Dr. Gordon knows that the first thing to do is to cauterize.
Right. I mean, you've already cut your leg off. At this point in time, you might as well.
Mmm, yummy.
So this should be. I think this was considered to be the last of the movies in the franchise.
Up until Jigsaw,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It's very
Meanwhile,
funny because this is the shortest movie of all of the 7
Yeah.
at only 90 minutes.
Oh yeah.
meanwhile in Canada, I mean,
Totally not Times
American
Square.
City.
I don't even know where's. Yeah, this initial trap baffles me. I don't. It's been a while since I saw the movie, so I don't remember who actually made it. If it was still Jigsaw who made it, or it was Hoffman. But in order to ramp things up, it's like, oh, look at that, and now it's a trap in the open where everyone can see.
How the hell did no one notice this big setup?
This is possibly the worst episode of Home Improvement ever. Did the show tank this much of it they had to force Tim Allen and his co-actors to do this?
Tim Allen isn't even here.
Don't you see? He's the one who built this trap. Okay, yeah, let's talk about this. Out of all the Saw movies, this is also the one that is particularly mean-spirited towards women.
This is gonna be the pettiest Saw trap.
Yeah. Just wait until you see the punchline. There's Billy the puppet arriving.
Yeah, I don't think that glass is gonna break.
Come on, you can do better than that.
Like, call the police.
Oh, he said earlier, yeah.
So, for Deji's delight, the opening trap is the result of a cock arc. The natural conclusion of the kind of story, the average Netorare manga.
They literally called her toxic.
Oh wait, no, they broke the law. Never mind.
I'm just imagining this is basically the kind of catharsis that Deji thinks, could potentially happen every time he sees a cock arc in a movie.
So this film released in October of 2010.
Remember, if it's Halloween, it must be Saw.
Oh, Billy the puppet, you shouldn't be doing that. There's no such thing as an alpha male. You should know better.
Yeah, so 2010. Yeah, we've established it wasn't a very good year for movies for the most part.
No, well, mostly at the beginning. Inception was really the big changer. So here's what we need
This
to
one came
do.
out a week after Paranormal Activity 2, even.
Which was, if I recall correctly, more successful still than this. So yeah, it's either, one of the two lovers have to die, or both of them have to collaborate to kill her.
Okay, so
Yes.
I wanted to bring something up because I noticed it the first go around for this movie, but this is one of the first Jigsaw traps that I've seen that is like, this is a little bit faulty because giving her just a little bit of nick, all three of them could survive by just angling the saw.
Well, it's kind of I can appreciate that they come a bit back to the origin by having the first trap literally being tied
Why
to
are
a
you
saw.
recording this, you bitch?
It's
Because
just a circus act.
Remember, Dweebs, this is, the world of the purge where people are assholes,
But wait a minute. She's favoring the one winning.
Wow, this guy immediately figured it out.
I can't believe that the punchline of the opening Trap in a Saw movie is bros before hoes.
Maybe this thing's got a failsafe in which it locks in place and then just shoves it all the way through.
Yeah, in a trap that's really implausible.
Also, took you guys long enough.
Sorry, Jay, don't you see? They were busy eating donuts, so there you go.
They were busy snacking at the Dunkin's 3 blocks down.
Yeah, let's go with that. pretty blood. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yummers.
Disregarding the awful dialogue we have here, this is possibly one of the worst traps in the whole series because of how implausible it is to set up in the middle of a crowded city, whether it's night or day, and we're not even like 10 minutes into the movie.
Not to mention, how mean-spirited it kind of is, especially compared to previous ones. Anyway, to recap what happened at the end of 6, the Jigsaw's wife discovered that Hoffman was partially responsible for the death, of John Kramer, so she used the bear trap that she found in the box against him. But Hoffman once again manages to cheat away fate. This guy literally cannot be stopped. Holy shit.
he is in the most amount of pain in his life. Turn back around and finish the job.
Unfortunately, the writers forgot actually to give, Jigsaw's wife, any kind of brain cells for this movie. In case you're wondering, remember, this is the location of the 6th game. So, in case you were hoping to see what happened to the journalist, if I recall correctly, we don't know. At least if I remember correctly. I don't think she shows up. Because remember, she did survive at the end.
Also,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess they're conveniently hiding his injury because I guess they ran out of budget to recreate it.
We're gonna be doing something about it, but I think that's what happened with most of the shots.
And yeah, this movie was filmed in 63 days, which meant this film had the longest time filming until Saw 10.
Mm-hmm. There you go, that was the guy from the 6th game.
That was our main guy, yeah. Okay, so he stitched his wound.
Well, you look at that. Snitches do get stitches, huh?
Because he's a detective.
And remember, it was also the one that said things to Amanda, which triggered her to kill the doctor who was operating on Jigsaw. So, because both the FBI and the police team in the previous movies were completely exterminated one way or another, now we have to, handle with a complete new police investigation team full of people you don't really care about.
In what's supposed to be the last movie.
Yeah, I think they kind of blew their load a bit too early in the previous movie by having Hoffman killing the entire investigation team. I think Discount David Tooley's character should have survived, at least.
Damn, I should have gone for a coffee first.
Another thing about the film's production, Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures kind of pulled a really dick move towards the director.
What happened?
Kevin Gruter was originally supposed to direct Paranormal Activity 2.
Huh.
but Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures pulled a contractual fuck you to him and forced him to return to direct this movie while they shifted the original director of this movie, David Hackle, to some unconfirmed Lionsgate movie.
Wow.
Needless to say, neither man took it very well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Now he's burning all the anything that relates it to him. He's going under a different name.
Especially because, remember, after the events of 6, now he's basically a fugitive. As far as, everyone is concerned, he either perished alongside the FBI investigation, or, he still did it, so he kind of needs to, hide. Okay, so now it's time to meet the person who will be certain in this game. Someone who claims to have survived a Jigsaw game. I guess it was only a matter of time before one of these balls showed up.
So we have Bobby, played by Sean Patrick Flannery, who's mainly known for being in the 2 Boondock Saints movies. About lady, we're in America, not Canada. It's like I'm watching Air Crash Investigation, a show that has quite a good chunk of the accidents, in America, and yet they have really noticeable Canadian accents.
My god, this fucking guy.
Yeah, he's lying through his teeth.
Yeah.
So yeah, he claimed that to survive the trap, he literally sticked hooks in his pectoral muscles. I guess, that's how it works. Clap, clap. There you go.
Rehearsed, eh?
Rehearsed.
Yeah, not to mention in terms of production, this movie had the most troubled of them. We mentioned the Kevin Grutter thing earlier. There was also constant executive meddling.
They were also clearly desperate for the marketing campaign because there was not an interview, but like a YouTube video, I think, from with Costas Mandylor, Hoffman's actor, pleading people to go to see the movie and not Paranormal Activity 2.
Also, yeah, this film was apparently supposed to be a 2-parter, but because of the diminishing box office results, Lionsgate told them no, put them all in one movie.
It's also weird because despite having a bit, not a lot, but a bit of a sense of finality, it still leaves a couple of things open. Spoilers, so far they haven't actually been, reprised in any of the 3 following movies. What the fuck is this blue filter? Oh my god.
We got tired of the Mexican piss filter, so we had to change it to blue.
Double D. It's like I'm watching I Know Who Killed Me. Double D, double da. Holy shit.
I know blue killed
Here
me.
we go again.
I'm afraid I just blew myself.
I can just imagine. It's a little too early for this one. I can only imagine Hoffman just sitting down and reading the Survive book. Like, I don't remember doing any of this. Ooh, I'm going to write this one down.
Here we go. That's a set loose hypnodisc.
I appreciate you being killed in some sort of convoluted death trap, but, I don't think he'd do this one.
Freedy. And it was a dream.
Of course it was a dream.
Jesus Christ.
How?
That's that Silent Hill blue dream filter.
Okay, here we go. Now it's time instead for the fun trap. Especially because it involves Linkin Park.
Yeah, that's the late Chester Bennington.
Like, out of fucking nowhere. It's like... so random. Apparently, if I recall correctly, he was actually particularly happy to, be part of the movies just to stick around to the kind of character, this trap is aimed at. Because, yeah, Jigsaw, I guess, decided to finally take on an easy target and kill a bunch of Nazi skins.
Yeah, they're all racists.
So yeah, remember what I said that, these traps are basically just more violent version of the trap from The Great Mouse Detective. We're about to get another example because this is just one big connected trap that is gonna kill all these people in sequence.
Hello?
What kind of glue Jigsaw did use to actually stick the guy to the chair?
Mm.
Like, did...
Murder brand Gorilla Glue. Can't do murders without gorilla power.
Did Home Depot actually have something like that? Here we go. That's been 20 seconds.
You joined in with it like maggots.
Almost 10 seconds.
This one is just the dumbest of them all. Well, no, not the trap. We've seen worse, but
Yeah, we saw the
the
one earlier.
collection of traps
Here
is
we
just...
go.
It's just a Rube Goldberg machine of traps.
Basically.
Not to mention these. What the hell happened? These traps all look horrendously fake.
Not
They
to mention, so far they've been disconnected, while the others, have always been still properly tied into the events that
Wait.
were happening.
Did he survive that?
No.
No. Especially,
Didn't look like
it's
it.
very poignant because now we start having literally a Jigsaw survivor group. And yes, in case you're wondering, outside of Bobby, the character we mentioned we've seen before, every single one of the other character is a returning survivor from a previous movie, reprised by the same actor. That's actually kind of awesome. I think I don't remember if there is the little girl also from the third movie, but we did know that she survived thanks to Amanda. So
Free?
Really?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about I think another thing that's taken a bit of a hit in this movie so far is the acting.
yeah, if you forgot, this is the gun where they're going
This
to chop.
one.
She had to
Yeah.
remember she had to chop her arm, and even in the same movie, she was like, "No, this was not about learning anything." Yeah, I noticed the guy from Five, the one,
Yeah.
the two guys where they had to slice off of their arms. So
Most people don't know this, but scars actually do heal.
well, sometimes, most of the times they do still leave, a mark on your flesh. It really depends.
Yeah. Yeah, but even that, with a lot more time, but enough time, can still heal.
What a lovely couple. I'm sure nothing will happen. Yeah, here's Dr. Gordon basically telling this bozo to Pete to knock it off.
Hey, what happened to your American accent? Mine was terrible.
Can you check with who Joyce, the wife, is played by?
Gina Holden.
I think I heard of her.
She was previously a receptionist in the Fantastic Four 2005 movie.
Huh.
She was also in Aliens vs. Predator Requiem
Oh God. Yeah, this
as
was definitely
Carrie
a step.
Adams.
This was definitely a step up in her career. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Is he?
The irony that Dr. Gordon has managed to, not publicly mention the fact that he survived a Jigsaw game, so nobody actually knows about that.
Yeah.
Again, it's mostly to justify the fact that in universe, we haven't seen the character for 6 movies.
Oh, she's not in there. And neither are you.
Yup.
Turned into a really shitty effect.
There you go. That's our tangential connection with the trap involving Linkin Park and this posse. It's just being investigated by the I don't even know if they're FBI or just the regular police team at this point. Again, it's just a bunch of randos who have no real personality. I'm sure the actors had to pull off as much as they could, but I'm unfortunately the effect of the remember the new guy trope. They couldn't even bring back. I forgot his name. The detective from the first few movies because he was the part of a video game, and I think that's still reserved considered canon.
Yeah, he died in the games. I think,
Yeah,
and then his son took over for the second one.
I don't even remember if the son also dies at the end of that or not.
Tap, the Detective David Tap.
Yeah.
I probably have a few cavities in my tooth.
Go to the dentist or AJ. Come
Hey,
on.
you remember the last Saw movie that we watched, where the medical insurance is wild? I don't have dental. I doubt you'll find any prints on there. He's got a bad habit of doing that.
Alright, so now it's time to start the game for Bobby. Finally, he can live up to his dream and oh no, what was the mean template? Jigsaw Survivor finally excited to finally start into one.
Can't wait for him to survive this so he can write Jigsaw Survive 2.
No pressure. And his wife is the prize of that. Yeah, given for Jigsaw standard, this is just not particularly, his style. Because yes, Bobby absolutely deserve having to grow through his ordeal when it comes to, Jigsaw's internal logic. But the wife really did nothing wrong. You can say, oh, maybe she's been an accomplice, but even so, at best, it was just to, be present at, the parties, reunions, the survivors groups. That's
Yeah.
kinda it. This is
It
his
was
game, not hers.
it is strange because the best she's done is just be there. And it's not like Jigsaw to take someone simply as an accomplice.
there's a good reason for the big female imbalance towards in this movie.
Go on.
You know the executive producer Mark Berg and Betsy Russell, the actress who played Jill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
Well, they
was.
were engaged, but then they
Yeah.
broke up during the film's early production, which
Oh.
which meant Berg's mental well-being took a hit. And while it's not been confirmed, a lot of outlets reported that not only did that play a factor in the film's troubled production, some even speculated that the film's treatment of Betsy Russell's character was apparently a deliberate choice by Berg so he could vent his feelings out.
Okay, again, we have nothing really to prove so far, but if this is true, it's kind of petty, and I kind of wish,
That's
people in the media industry will stop putting their personal feelings of this kind of
in
level into their
public.
product. Like, try to be professional, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's just really like,
Like, the reason
yeah, I
I
know your
can't
mental
believe
well-being
it,
took a hit, but it's still petty if it's true.
the reason I can't believe it, Lives, is because, as we noted, the opening trap is literally about someone who actually is, has been cheating on her boyfriend, and the result is that both of them decides to collaborate to kill her. So yeah, that's what happened with Bobby. He got an idea from Survivor.
Okay, mate, the acting's not great, but do you really need to drink through this? In terms of like the acting, I think Flannery's one of the better ones because I mean that's like we said. I know his accent wasn't the greatest, but Carrie Ellis isn't even trying.
Yes. I was about to say, you're gonna keep sitting there. You only got 58 minutes now. Amazing that he gave you an hour.
Well, that's kind of the usual standard time that Jigsaw gives to for the games.
Yeah, for the actual public traps.
Understand your problems.
was that was that what the producers kept saying to each other during production?
Follow the line.
Movie, you are correct. I should probably watch again Red Line at some point. That movie is very fun.
You does this thing for Prince, and then also carries it around without any gloves.
The professional police department of town in Bumfuck, USA. And again, the movie is still biased against Jill when you get down to it. But, if you remember, she was technically morally correct compared to Hoffman, because Hoffman was genuinely more of a piece of shit that, through his action, instigated the death of Jigsaw. So, I don't know. The fact that they're still painting her in this negative light, just really isn't right to me. Like, at the end of the day, no one emerges unscathed from this, because Jigsaw and all of his accomplices are just, responsible for doing terrible things. But in the context of the group, internal morality and all.
I just I can't do.
Oh.
I guess Freddy Krueger got
What makes you-
resurrected again in the meantime.
What makes you think Detective Hoffman of the FBI won't be able to find me here? Even though he's playing himself to be dead, he still has access to the FBI files. It's a safe house. Yeah, I'm starting to see how he was able to kill all the FBI in Homicide.
Not to mention, I mean, I think I found. Well, yeah, that's definitely one reason. One reason why the acting in this movie's taken a dive. This dialogue.
It's weird because they're the same writers from the previous movies, so not negotiating with terrorists. Sorry.
Everyone dies and you'll be to blame. Why don't we just plaster this man's face all over the place? Let everyone know who the current Jigsaw killer is.
No time to think about that. Let's continue the game. Redefine your priorities. Oh, I hate this trap in particular. Not in universe. It's one of the more squeamish one to me.
Oh,
Was this the dentist trap?
Yeah,
Not really. I think Jigsaw will explain in a second if I recall correctly.
this was the idea for one of the other victims in Saw 3, Troy's game.
See, actually putting the other, people of the team in peril for the traps still makes sense because as Jigsaw explained, they've been in on the lie with him. But again, as far as we know, I don't remember if it's actually explained, but I don't think the wife really, knew about anything. So yeah, yet she has a hook stuck in her stomach, and he has to carefully pull it out. But as you can imagine, it's gonna scrape a lot. It's so weird that despite all the torture porn for the franchise, this is the actual trap that actually makes me ugh.
I guess she's panicking, but like, the trap literally explains it, and she still continues going off.
Bobby will actually, agree with you by the time the trap ends.
Can you just knock her out?
I hate to
Then
tell you,
pull it?
Dreams, but the whole knocking a person out with a single blow that happens in the movies is not particularly, applicable in real life, unless you really want to give permanent brain damage to someone.
I don't think she's surviving this, even if the trap is frayed.
You're not eating anything.
Can you imagine if this is actually, like, if it goes on today, this will be the popcorn bucket kind of thing. Fish out every single popcorn like this. Here we go.
Well, because she can't shut up. So he got the key, but she died anyway.
Similar to. Yeah, there you go, Jay. Similar to. I think something like this happened in the third movie, which coincidentally also starred an asshole. Here's one of his books. And this flashback serves to explain a bit why this game is happening. And specifically by who is made.
Sure.
And here's Tobin Bell trying to be cool with the kids. What is that outfit?
Hello, fellow kids.
I
How
get-
do you do?
I get that Kramer is trying to be a bit undercover, as in trying to pass on as just a random, but I'm sure there was a better outfit to give him than conceptual what the 90s thought it was cool for teenagers.
Well, was this 2010 trying to be the 90s?
I don't know. But yeah, this basically serves to explain that, Jigsaw himself was targeting Bobby. I think by the time the game ends, we will know when is precisely located in the timeline. But, it still was something that Jigsaw was planning, so instead it wasn't something that Hoffman decided to pick. You might have noticed because the photo of Bobby was among the ones that Hoffman was actually checking from the folder that Jigsaw gave to him.
Ah, you remember.
Yeah, it's an angel statue.
Hoffman being shitty at covering his tracks.
But wait a minute, that pig mask person looks less bulky to be Hoffman. That means someone else is still possibly, working with Jigsaw. Alright, next up. Verify your self-worth through commitment.
Also, apparently in some versions this movie had pink blood.
I don't know what to tell you.
I know it's 3D, but funnily enough, 1 month after this came out, Danganronpa came out in Japan, which also had pink blood, and was also about a game of death. And apparently, the developers there called the Saw series one of their inspirations.
Yeah, I can see that. So in this case, it's to try to genuinely avoid the trap actually killing the woman for 30 seconds.
Wait, it's got to go to its highest position? Well, get to work. How's your fitness?
Ow.
Oh, this again.
Yeah.
What is with the Jigsaw crew and piercing people's sides?
Pretty.
I mean, it also doesn't help that that the victims here seem to suffer a severe case of James Bond girlitis. Well, the worst ones anyway.
Yeah.
Especially the one from the View to a Kill where they don't shut the fuck up screaming.
It's Samurai Amy took over.
Yeah, Mary Jane Spider-Man works too.
One day I will
So
show
wait,
you clips of the movie Darkman because that also has a particular scene where an entire character, female character, does nothing but screaming the entire time she's on screen.
God. Looks like she's pushing herself into the thing.
So, good work, team. The worst part in this is also that compared to the previous games, in this one there isn't even something that Bobby needs to actually progress, like a key that he needs to open the doors or anything. So by all accounts, he potentially could just move on and leave the rooms. But they just these are some of the worst games because they just showcase a bit more just gratuitous cruelty compared to previous ones where they were a bit more well constructed and methodical.
So, Mr. Dodgy Cop actor here. Who's he played by? His
I don't
character's
even.
name is
Yeah.
Gibson. He's played by Chad Danella. This, which is really odd. He's been acting since 1989. He was in the first Final Destination movie
Huh.
as Todd Wagner, and yet, what the hell happened here? He'll later go on to be in Taken 3,
Okay.
and there's also in a lot of TV stuff.
Whatever the hell that means.
At the end of his, well, I can't even say the end of his acting career since it.
God, he's just leading you.
Honestly, with how
More you're
one-dimensional
the
he is and
train.
how bad his acting is, I don't really care that much.
I need to start pondering this point, how many fucking abandoned buildings are in this city, because at this point it's getting a bit ridiculous.
It's the city. It's not all that uncommon.
Like, is this Chicago or something?
I thought it was.
Because
I haven't been proven wrong yet.
I remember that the movie, the first Candyman movie, made a point to tie in the Candyman killer monster to a real life event that happened in Chicago.
Okay, yeah, shit. I know. I'm sorry, that was a dumb question. Do you know when Joyce went, I've got a fucking blindfold on, you idiots?
Alright, let's listen to the tape. Yeah, this is also being kind of the symbology, you know. Well,
Three monkeys.
yeah,
See,
basically.
hear, speak no evil.
Let's go.
Even he's bloody annoying.
Who is he played by, Kale?
Please.
Kale is played by Dean Armstrong. Okay, I haven't seen it, but he was also in Wrong Turn 4.
Set of movies that try to be, you know, exploitative about hillbilly or a bit similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but somehow even less graceful.
And other stuff I'm not really sure he's been
Whoops.
really.
Wrong plank. You know also what has been missing from this particular sub-movie that we haven't seen so far? The very fast pace editing for one person dies.
Oh yeah, another thing. You know that opening trap that
Yeah.
doesn't really have anything to do with the events here.
Nope. At all.
Well, there's a reason for that. Apparently, it was supposed to be a flashback to when Hoffman was being trained by Kramer,
Okay.
but Tobin Bell couldn't make the filming date.
So it's just implied. They couldn't even have a throwaway line from one of the characters to say, you know, oh, you know, that's what happened. Like, that's such an easy to fix. God damn it. 3D. Oh, okay, not gonna lie, at the very least, that was funny.
Well, yeah, you're a terrible catcher.
Yeah, and to be fair, this time around, Bobby did still succeed, and it was his friend who had Butterfingers. Here's the angel statue.
Because it's a trap. really. The 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 fit as hell cop was outpowered by this guy.
But Hoffman is the one who saved his life by killing the guy.
He just has a penchant for killing people.
I'm pretty sure it serves exactly for showing that, the fact that Hoffman, even before, you know, he started copycatting Jigsaw, was just a bad person to begin with. Yeah, actively encouraging brutality. Like,
Well, yeah, he reported him.
You just slayed the man.
and you possibly traumatized your colleague.
So wait, he got promoted for brutality. Yeah, actually, you know what?
2010. Some things really do not change, though.
Crossroads manufacturer. Wow, no wonder the acting's so ropey. The word crossroads jinxed this movie. Crossroads was a soap opera here in Britain, for the most part known for its really kind of ropey acting.
I was going to make a joke tied to Sonic Team Racing Crosswords instead, but yeah, yours is more fitting. Value your loved ones.
Well, you just killed 3 of them.
Oh, is this a dental
20 minutes left. What
Is
have
this a
you been doing
dentist?
for 40 minutes? Yeah, this one's the dentist one.
Wow, okay, so I was right. There was a dentist track.
This was the
just
one that I was
not...
talking about for Troy's game. What do you mean, why is this happening? You know why.
Again, if I recall correctly, the wife still is, and genuinely still believes that that he was telling the truth.
Oh.
This is why I say that she's really has no real stake in being in this, other than to be a prize for the main guy to win. Like, if they showcased her to be more complicit throughout, much like the others, it would have made more sense, but I don't know. It's kind of like how Jurassic World makes a point to make the death of the babysitter super cruel, and that's because in the original, draft she was supposed to be more asshole-ish, but because they cut away those scenes in the final product, it does become unnecessary cruel.
I mean, you could say that, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you don't even have to be a big prick in a movie to die.
I can tell you this, but it kind of, takes me away from the movie. It makes me ponder instead why the writers would do something like that.
Well, how many times have we seen,
Wait.
just a dickhead dying?
Wait, this is a 4-digit combination, but it's only 2 teeth that's got codes on them.
So two ciphers in each. Lovely.
Should that much blood be coming out?
Ah, there's our jumping around.
Yeah, kinda. If they're rooted, yes, Dweebs. It's actually, I don't know how many times you have been to the dentist, Dweebs, but one tool that they use is a small vacuum, tube that serves to, suck away the blood that actually gets, spilled while they're operating you. There you go. At the very least, the police is arriving to each of the traps. So it was Hoffman who set it off.
Oh, actually, Tio, you know that you know who you can blame for getting that death in that in Jurassic World?
Gone.
Her actress.
Like, did she insisted to cut? She insisted to cut away her scenes of being dickish.
No, she wanted that. She wanted that death.
Like I said, Waves, the death in itself would not be much of a problem, but as it presented in the movie, it lacks the context to justify it. So,
Right, well, I'm just saying, yeah, it's not just the director and the writer you can blame.
well, one of them or the editor had to be responsible for deleting those scenes. It's kind of like if they made the lawyer in the first Jurassic Park movie actually, not an asshole. Alright, the police is actually getting very close to where Bobby is right now.
Oh,
There
okay,
you
two
go.
numbers wrong each of
Two
them.
number per tooth. Gibson, see
Interesting
for
on
yourself.
TV Tropes, Soul 3D even has its own NARM page,
Mostly because
separate
of
from
the
even the
acting.
main page itself. Well, the effects, how Hoffman is ridiculously overpowered,
Mm-hmm.
and the acting, mostly from Mr. Danella.
Now with this particular coat and the weapon like that and the haircut, that guy that we mentioned,
Let me guess, that's not Hoffman.
embrace every day as if you're last. Well, take a wild guess, Waves. But we're about to find out. But that guy kind of looks like Luker from the Pokemon games with that angle. Ow.
We got a live one, folks.
Alright, it's time for the last major test, and how fitting Jigsaw has thought exactly what to do to put the cherry on top. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Jigsaw himself, tells the fact that Joyce has literally no, guilt in this, but and yet she's basically the victim too in this.
We were still using this trope in 2010.
And yeah, it's the whole stick
Ugh.
your hook in the pectoral muscle thing that he claimed to have survived. Now, on a narrative level, this is perfectly cathartic to demonstrate the faultiness of, how Bobby is much of a fraud. Here's the thing, however, that I'm sure everyone thought about it. Stick it in your trousers. you know like, even if you don't have those levery attachment that serves to make your belt come across, I'm sure you can stick it to the thigh zone of your trouser, like your pockets, and use those to anchor yourself. Even if it rips off, it should still support better your weight. I get that Bobby maybe not doing things straight right now because of all the shit that happens and caving away two of his teeth. But I don't know. This is one of those tramps that thinking about it for a minute makes you circumvent it pretty easily.
It doesn't look like it
Danger.
can go any
Get it?
further than the chest. You guys think he just fell asleep on the chair?
Dummy, literally.
Is someone going to explode or something?
Yeah, I agree with Bobby. She doesn't deserve to be here. This
Yeah,
this one of those
with the way that
cases.
they're hanging, it doesn't look like it can go to his trouser pockets. He could jump and try and stick them in there, but the best it could do is just rip.
Extreme bamboozling in progress. And yeah, Hoffman managed to know
Of course he did.
He knew every single movement of his investigation team. Huh?
Christ, this guy really is overpowered.
But again, to be
Hoffman-
fair, we're kind of trying
Is
to
Hoffman
recapture.
secretly a ninja?
We're trying to recapture the whole thing about Jigsaw managing to know in advance of what to do. So
Yeah, but he's an idiot.
which means Hoffman right now is at the police station, ready for the picking. Surprise! It's the end. It's the ending of Breaking Bad. How many years earlier?
Christ.
At least one guy tried to get out of the way. Also, a sentry gun hidden behind a bunch of trash?
The acting's so bad they couldn't even die properly. That guy
Surprise!
goes
3D blood.
Christ, can one
How does
person
he
in this...
just keep getting away with this?
I can imagine Mandalore's reaction now. Christ, can one guy in this series act like they're dying? In this movie.
Yoink. You were warned. I think that's supposed to be acid vapor.
Look for an exit. Yeah, I don't think that... So what's he going to do? Just kill it?
Yes, Hoffman literally is going on a killing spree with just with that dicky knife.
For the second time.
This is some really half-baked Hitman level.
Again, we introduced this new police team just for this movie, and Hoffman is killing in the entirety of it immediately.
Well, again, this was meant to be like 2 movies from the writers, but they were forced to compress it into 1.
Yeah. Also,
you,
I can use this time to talk about something that we haven't mentioned. If you know, I don't know anything about the movie poster, because it makes absolutely no sense. Even the ones from the previous new movies were already a bit sketchy after the 4th one. But this one in particular makes no sense because it's basically Jigsaw John Kramer, being reimagined kind of like as the Colossus of Rhodes, this imposing statue being constructed. I think the idea behind it is that it's supposed to become one of the wonders of the world, immortalized in the eyes of the people, but it really doesn't fit with what's going on in the movie.
I thought it was like a trap. You must build a lifelike statue of me, or you will die.
Here we go.
How do I do that?
You got 2 minutes.
Again, are there any other heavy things in the room he can use?
Can you stop finding your husband hot for like 5 minutes so he can do what he needs to be done?
Oh, like Hooker using her as a puppet. Also, poor Jill. She had a big moment in the last movie, and she gets reduced to this.
Also, I feel like Jigsaw set this one up specifically for Bobby to be petty about it. Not even bulletproof glass in a police station, huh?
Yep, this is what an executive producer's pettiness gets us.
And he survives that.
Jesus Christ.
You managed to get the jump on him, and you still can't think to finish the job!
Yeah, I mean, they turned into even bigger idiot than at the end of the last movie.
Let's just see, Jay, those silly women, they don't even know how to kill someone, apparently.
But we had one. We had
Amanda, at the very least.
Gun. No gun.
Christ, this movie was born out of a cash grab for 3D and a producer's pettiness. And, well, just general, we don't give a shit anymore.
Come on.
My God, Bobby's incredibly strong.
No, unfortunately, those pectoral muscles could not actually sustain his body.
See, the
Gee,
weird
what
thing
a
about
shock.
that is he's also holding the extension cords to lift himself up, which should loosen the amount of tension on the pecs. But this movie wants to teach him a lesson about being petty when
Liar.
riding your traps, so...
Don't lie. That's the big moral. Just like the director got lied to by Lionsgate.
Ow.
What do you think you're going to accomplish there?
Oh, and also this. How does the wife poor Joyce gets to die? With a very poorly CGI mixed to, practical effect construct brazen ball. which for Jigsaw standards looks way too overproduced.
Yeah, could you tell this movie was made out of partly made out of spite?
Even the blood looks real.
Yeah, I think me and
Yeah,
Jay got
again,
the edition
pink
with the
blood.
pink blood. Too
Yeah,
much
so did
pink,
I.
Yeah,
That's what I just saw.
too much pink energy
Granted,
is dangerous.
that was a result of the 3D. But, it's bad when it's more effective in fucking Danganronpa, an even sillier series than this.
getting a little Danganronpa in here with that pink blood.
Now
Yeah,
the
remember
one,
that came out a month after this movie.
now the one minor positive that I can potentially come up with is that because of this, we're finally about to see, the bear trap working finally as intended. Took them long enough, and I kind of wish we had better circumstances for it, but Oh yeah, she totally deserved to die. What was she's about not appreciating life, Jigsaw?
So the moral of the story is don't be married to a liar who hides his secret from you, or else you're complicit. This movie
Again,
sucks.
even the thing that frustrates me, and I think also the other when it comes to to your audience, is the fact that again this breaks even the internal ruling that, as twisted as it was, the internal ruling that Jigsaw used to have. Alright, time to see finally the bear trap actually working properly on Jill. There you go, we're about to get also the editing back.
Light flashing before their eyes.
I guess that's the intended, way. Freedy! And there goes Jill out of the movies. What a waste.
How lovely.
Yeah, he said it.
So they turned Jill into an idiot, kill her off really shittily, and Hoffman gets to pay homage to rip off the ending of the first movie.
Well, remember, it has been the catchphrase at the end of each of the major games.
A large display of terrible acting was delivered like a plague across the whole city. All done by one man, because the police in this movie are idiots.
Pretty much. Freedy!
So he drops the legacy and just stays as this mass serial killer. But Hoffman, the legacy doesn't leave without you.
No. Turns out there are more pigmen that still work for Jigsaw, but that begs the question, who are they? Well, we only get to know on one of them, unfortunately, and it's Dr. Gordon. Ton ton ton. And honestly, this makes way too much sense because it recontextualizes almost everything in the previous movies. He was the one whom Jill gave the tape in the previous movie. He was the one eventually that was found by Jigsaw properly. And remember, he technically won the game compared to Lee Wannell's character. Brr.
Oh, cool. You were willing to give him a prosthetic.
And he was the one who made all of the surgeries from the preps in the previous movies, which yeah, kind of makes sense. He was the one who recommended the doctor for the third movie.
Just one more thing. Please drop that terrible American accent of yours.
He's teach the two guys from the opening of the fourth movie. He was the one who says who he knew who Hoffman was. Up.
Using the cane to keep him down.
And the reason why he's attacking Hoffman is because Jigsaw basically used him as a last resort in case Jill actually got killed. So for once, Hoffman doesn't get to walk away. And of course, we're capping off for, with one special location. Hey, it's the room from the first movie. There's Lee Whannell's character's corpse. Feels like it's very nostalgic. No. There you go.
Why did you put the?
Just to tease.
You didn't. Pity you never saw that coming.
Ha. 3D.
No. Saving you for this
His old
terrible action.
leg.
Yeah. And that's how it ends. So we don't even know what's gonna happen to Bobby. And spoilers, like I said, the next movies will not follow these events because Jigsaw is a kind of a distant kind of sequel that follows still is tangentially connected to the Jigsaw murders, but on a different location entirely. Spiral is just its own thing, and Saw 10 or X is an intercal bit set between 1 and 2. So when it comes to actually following what just happened, we don't know what's going to happen to Bobby, if he survived or not. We don't know if Detective Hoffman will actually die there or, it will somehow manage to get away. And we don't know what happened to Dr. Gordon because Cary Elwes hasn't really reprised his role yet. So
Cary Elwes is too busy appearing in
the Knuckle show.
And shitty movies.
But yeah, so for all intents and purposes, that's how the Saw franchise died back in 2010. I have to admit, as much as, there is a bit of catharsis to finally have Hoffman, being put in his place and having a bit of a callback to the first movie being the last thing we see, it still kind of ends up being on a wet fart, not gonna lie. But in order, what did you think, Waves?
This sucked. I mean, like almost everything about it's just really fallen off. The acting is terrible. The special effects, even the practical ones, have really downgraded. Like you could literally tell when the actor just turns into a shitty looking marionette. Like they're so clearly made out of not human skin. And in the 3D, yeah, I mean, even watching it in 2D, the 3D is just really obnoxious. It's the classic example of bad
Gimmick.
3D effects.
Just a
Yeah, like
gimmick.
they just do it because it looks, I would say, cool.
It reminds me of that gag in The Fairly Odd Parents, that kind of spoofs this old 3D mechanic by having the phantom volcano in 3D that leaps out of the screen.
Oh, Jesus. And I mean, Christ, yeah, this is how the series actually ended. Like, damn, talk about falling off a cliff.
Which is weird because, like you said, it did sold considerably well compared to the sixth movie. But again, the competition with Paranormal Activity 2 is what definitely killed him. Which is ironically considering that between the two franchises now, Paranormal Activity is the one that is dead and deader, but what instead Saw is more or less continuing.
The only kind of positive thing about it is that Hoffman, after all these years of really ridiculous ways of getting out of his trouble, finally got what was coming to him, and it was done by the
The
guy we
OG.
haven't seen for the past 6 years.
Yeah, there is definitely that catharsis factor.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this is the worst film in the series I've seen so far.
Yeah, the worst so far, Dweebs. But again, I get the idea you probably will still overall like Spiral. At the end of the day, that's my prediction, but that's two movies from now. Jay, what about you? What do you think?
Told you beforehand, but I love this movie. At the same time, I carry the same opinion that Dwebs has. This movie is the worst in the series, but it is just so bad, so shark jumpingly petty, and ends off on a whimper that I just can't help but love this movie. Everything about it is just blase. It loops itself back around to just being funny. This series was careening off of a cliff, and this one, the pettiest of them all, takes it and goes crashing down to the pits. By the by, there is an audio commentary that reveals that Hoffman does die in that bathroom, either due to starvation or death of thirst. They just don't care. But that is the end of Mark Hoffman, the serial killer that goes nuts in the latter half of the series.
Don't worry, Jay. I'm pretty sure they're gonna, if they really want, they're gonna retcon that for a future movie. They want the character to survive.
They don't see a body, then the person's not dead. That's
Pretty
always
much.
that's the legendary rule to it all.
Same as it ever was.
Oh, this movie is miserable, but it is the perfect end to a series that just couldn't stop dying. Unfortunately, it's not the end.
No one's ever really gone.
Seriously, what happens to the people in this movie hints on like occultism to John Kramer. It is crazy just how many people continue to support him through this mess. Even after he's dead and gone. He is dead and gone, right?
It wasn't also one of the weirdest thing about it. You would think that similar to other major horror icon franchises like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, or Chucky, they will franchise this shit by having, even outside the video games, having stuff, for example, a comic line. There's only literally one comic for Saw, and I think it's a tie-in to the second movie. That's it. Just one single issue, which is baffling because this genre really puts itself up potentially for a comic line, but I guess nobody gave a shit to actually try to make it make one.
I mean, why at this point in time, why would you? The main series has shown all of the important characters to be dead in
And
one
these
regard or
days,
another.
not many people read Western comics anymore.
So from here on out, I will actually be fully blind. I know nothing about Jigsaw, Spiral, or Saw X
Well,
or Saw 10.
all in due time. As for me, this movie is still very weak. I like the idea of the closure of the story arcs going on, but you can kind of tell that this is literally stumbling on the finish line, quote unquote, mind you. The absolute pettiness over, the characters of Jill or Joyce is just very evident. And it really clashes compared to how female characters were treated in the previous movies. Yes, there was still exploitation to some degree. One of the, impetuses for Jigsaw's turn to villainy is his wife getting a miscarriage in a very clumsy way, and he's played, for drama. It's a bit too cheap on the nose when you get down to it, but you can tell there was more of a narrative purpose behind what in this it just really feels like what Dave says. It almost feels like the producer was that petty and whatever character arc Jill was going on between the previous movies about knowing stuff her husband, left to her and taking her revenge on Hoffman, it just is gone, and she does nothing in the movie. She asks for protection, gets stuffed in a cell, gets picked up by Hoffman, killed. Even the nightmare sequence is extra exploitative for the sake of having an extra death scene. You know, the
It's
game,
like I want her to die twice.
the initial trap, and the trap involving the late singer for Linkin Park are also completely Pointless. The second one is at least a bit more fun for how it ties everything together into it, and at the very least it's more connected to the plot. But you can kind of tell that they were either running out of ideas or they had to work, in a tight amount of time nonetheless. Despite, as we've telling, this being the longest period of filming one of his movies had. But no, the final game, we don't even know. We only know that the Jigsaw, properly orchestrated it, but we don't really know if it was really his idea of how things would have gone, or if it was Hoffman putting the touches, you know. And we're at the point where the suspension of disbelief is starting to stretch in about how many of abandoned schools and warehouses are in this city, how dumb the police has to be to let everything of this getting away. We know, thanks to the radio chatter, that by the end of this movie, the tightening of the police is more, around the city is more secured, technically. And by the time of Jigsaw, and not technically Spiral, we will also see that the police force is a bit more prevalent for these movies and more competent technically. But this is a far cry compared to the early movies. It gets getting very ridiculous. I have to admit, though, Carrie always coming back and being the one that personally lays the smackdown on Hoffman finally is the kind of perfect way to tie things together. Though we do not know who the other two pig masks are, if they are potentially other surviving victims of the Jigsaw murders, potentially, but they haven't really been revealed. And again,
Oh,
spoiler alert, both Jigsaw and Spider way of tying to these previous movies is not connected to that. So,
hey, something else that we've learned from this movie:
well,
having your foot cut off and replaced can change your accent.
so you're telling me, Dweebs, that the average British person has every single, country trait concentrated in their ankles?
I guess
Still,
either that or Carrie Ellis or Kevin Gruter were like, yeah, the accent in the first movie was terrible. Just, I mean, seriously, the only thing in that movie that was dead on arrival more than your accent was the fake body and Lee Whannell's acting.
speaking of which, it was nice to actually still also see Lee Whannell's character's corpse one final time, before the movie was over.
that's a that's a positive of the movie. A corpse.
This, again, callbacks and all. But that's kind of it. Like I said, unfortunately, so far, timeline-wise, we haven't really continued on that front, but things still have moved forward nonetheless, so tune in eventually for the 8th movie in the saga, which, as we've said, was done 7 years after this, properly titled Jigsaw. See you for that.
So yeah.